Brought to you by Fowl Factory.
Welcome to this week's episode of Hardline Outdoors. On this week's episode, we're going to cover the early goose hunting season here in Wisconsin, as well as our first weekend out for the Horicon Zone Period 1. Unfortunately this year, the early goose hunting season did not play out as we thought it would. And that is a result of a limited number of local birds we had in our area. The past couple of years, we had a lot more birds in our area. Unfortunately this year, the numbers just seem to be down. As well as very hot weather we had during the first part of September. The temperatures were in the 80s and 90s, which resulted in the birds becoming stagnant and sitting on the water most of the day. And usually during that time of the year, our average temperatures are in the 60s and 70s, which allows the birds to move more often. And another factor which really played into us not having the best hunt was that the birds were changing fields daily. Usually during that time of the year, you can get the birds in a pattern, or they're going into a field to feed for a couple days at a time. This year that did not happen. The birds were changing fields daily, and as a result, we weren't able to pinpoint fields and get into the best locations. We were able to pick up a few birds throughout the year, but ultimately, the action did not pick up until the very next weekend of September 20th, when we were able to get into a cut corn silage field where the birds had been feeding for a number of days, both morning and at night. And this location was ideal because it was set up between two bodies of water. We had one off to our east where the birds were roosting overnight, then they'd come to this field to feed during the day, and then about midday they would go to the other body of the water to the west where they would loaf, and then at night they would come back again to feed in this field. And because we had this great location, we had the birds patterned, we ended up with a great hunt. Welcome to Hardline Outdoors. This week we're going to be goose hunting in south central Wisconsin for the first weekend of Horicon Zone Period 1. We're going to be hunting in a chopped cornfield and standing in standing corn. The decoys are going to be about 20-30 yards out in front of us. The birds in the area are still local geese. The migration hasn't started yet, so we have two small feeder groups with about 18 to 24 decoys. This is going to be our first weekend out of the year, as well as we won't be able to hunt for about 3 or 4 weekends because we're going to be doing some duck hunting. So hopefully we can get our birds in and get our 8 goose limit.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're coming. So we just wrapped up the morning hunt. We had a great day out in the field. We got a 4-man limit of birds. We were only out here for about an hour, hour and a half. Birds were working perfectly this morning. We didn't have to do much calling. They decoyed really nicely and came right in front of our spread. We were scouting this field for about a week ahead of time. Each morning and the last couple of nights, we were getting 3 to 4 dozen birds landing in this field. They're all local birds still right now. The migration hasn't started, so they felt comfortable with this field, and that played a role in our success today. That'll wrap it up for this week's episode. Stay tuned for more tips and episodes in the future.